That was fucking weird. Okay. Start off with reverse journalism today. Upgraded it from reverse poetry to reverse journalism because that's actually more appropriate. Okay.
The last 2 weeks have been, without exaggeration, some of the finest gaming I can remember having in years. Crimson Desert is the real thing. A game that earns every syllable of the word adventure in a way the genre has largely stopped attempting. Where the action is genuinely actioned and the world is genuinely worlded. Where the scale isn't performed, but felt. Where 150 hours in, I am somehow still sitting at Chapter 6, with the distinct and not unpleasant suspicion that I have seen perhaps a tenth of what's actually there. I have an enormous amount to say about the experience itself, the way the adventure is architected, so that nothing overwhelms you, so that the world withholds its secrets with the patience of something that knows you'll come looking, rather than depositing them in your path like a trail of breadcrumbs. But that's a different essay for a different day. And if you've been anywhere near TikTok or X or Instagram recently, you already understand what I mean. Because every other scroll surfaces another piece of gear, another hidden mechanic, another secret sequence that sends you back into Pywell with the specific urgency of someone who has just been told about a room in their own house they didn't know existed. It is, in the most genuinely complimentary sense, a game engineered for the social media age. Not through spectacle or vanity bait, but through the sheer, inexhaustible density of things worth finding. But that is not what today is about. Today is about something I think matters considerably more than my experience of it. Something hiding in plain sight behind all the discourse and the review drama and the journalist class retreating behind the impenetrable shield of, "It's just my opinion," whenever the accountability conversation gets too close for comfort. We have written extensively on that institution, on the weaponization of critical opinion as a mechanism for influence without responsibility, on the echo chamber that has learned to deploy the language of subjectivity as a defense against standards. And we won't relitigate that ground here. What Crimson Desert has revealed that feels more urgently worth examining, more structurally damning than any individual review score, is something that sits underneath all of it and implicates the entire Western AAA development model in a way that no amount of critical consensus can manage or obscure. It's the cost. Crimson Desert was built for $133 million.
Okay, there's no way these guys don't know each other.
Hold that number while the comparison assembles itself, because the assembly is where the indictment lives. Concord, Sony's flagship live service bet, 8 years in development, consumed over $200 million, generated losses of equivalent scale, was deleted from existence 12 days after launch, and resulted in the complete closure of Firewall Studios and the termination of roughly 210 people who had spent years of their lives building it. The people who greenlit it kept their positions. The people who built it lost their jobs. And Sony, the same Sony that presided over this, has since raised the price of its hardware multiple times, citing global economic pressures, which may be entirely true and entirely beside the point simultaneously, because a company with this quality of capital allocation judgment is now asking its audience to pay more for the privilege of funding whatever comes next. Skull and Bones consumed hundreds of millions. Some estimates place it north of $500 million across a full decade of development, multiple reboots, and scope changes so extreme and so prolonged that the product which eventually shipped felt less like a finished game and more like the institutional memory of one, a ghost of ambition that had been restarted so many times that nobody involved could remember what it was originally supposed to be. Ubisoft now finds itself in full restructuring mode, slashing projects and staff just to remain viable, which is what a decade of this quality of decision-making eventually
I'd love to know what
produces.
cloak that is. I don't think I've
Dragon
actually
Age
seen that
Veilguard,
one.
Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, each absorbing roughly double Crimson Desert's entire budget. each arriving and departing without leaving a recoverable mark on anything. The specific texture of each failure has stopped being interesting.
What I
because
have is
the
like a
pattern beneath
placeholder
them
for the
has
time
become
being,
too
but that
consistent
actually
to
looks
require
better than
individual
what I have.
diagnosis. And this has been the reality of Western AAA for the better part of a decade now. A sustained, compounding pattern of studios spending more and delivering less, of players returning to each release hoping this is the one that remembers what games are supposed to feel like, only to watch another bloated, committee-designed, compliance-optimized product arrive, underperform, and disappear.
Are they going to
within
spawn me
months.
in as Damien or as Cliff?
That accumulated disappointment
So I logged
is
off
not
as Damien.
abstract. It is a vacuum. The specific, palpable absence of the kind of game that made
That's a
people
really
fall in
good-looking
love
cloak.
with the medium in the first place. A gap that has been widening for years, while the establishment congratulated itself on its own sophistication. And it is precisely into
Oh yeah, they
that
did load me
vacuum,
in as Damien. Nice.
into that accumulated hunger for something that simply respects the person holding the controller, that the challengers have arrived. Pearl Abyss from Seoul with Crimson Desert. Game Science from Shenzhen with Black Myth Wukong. Studios operating from countries that the Western press spent years treating as peripheral to the conversation about where the future of the medium was being built. Economies that arrived at technological and creative maturity without inheriting the accumulated institutional weight of their Western counterparts, unburdened by the decades of regulatory sediment, compliance architecture, and ideological overhead that mature Western corporate culture has layered so thoroughly into its operating costs that it no longer recognizes them as choices, and who have now, in the space of a single console generation, produced two of the most commercially and culturally significant releases the industry has seen in years. Both of them built leaner, faster, and with a directness of creative intent that the incumbent order has structurally lost the capacity to replicate. The threat this poses is not rhetorical. It is existential. Because what these studios have demonstrated, at commercial scale, in public, with the receipts fully visible, is that the overhead the Western establishment has naturalized as the unavoidable cost of serious game development is not a feature of serious game development at all. It is a feature of the institutional machinery that has grown up around serious game development. And that machinery, it turns out, is optional. To understand precisely how expensive that institutional machinery has become, and why studios operating outside it have such a profound and compounding structural advantage, you have to look at the numbers the industry never discusses in this context. Because discussing them honestly would require implicating the entire economic and cultural environment that Western AAA has built its cost structure around. Federal regulatory compliance costs American businesses $2.1 trillion annually. Not in taxes, not in wages, in the pure administrative overhead of existing as a large employer inside an increasingly complex legal environment. The lawyers, the documentation, the reporting requirements, the institutional machinery whose sole organizational purpose is managing the consequences of operating under compounding legal obligation. The Competitive Enterprise Institute's most recent analysis puts this figure at 7% of GDP, translating to $16,000 per American household per year in costs so thoroughly embedded in the price of every product and service that they never appear on any receipt, but are paid nonetheless, invisibly, by everyone. The average American firm now devotes between 1.3 and 3.3% of its entire wage bill not to building anything, not to creating anything a customer will ever encounter, but exclusively to regulatory compliance, to people whose professional function is managing the paperwork generated by other people managing paperwork, in a recursive bureaucratic loop that compounds automatically as the organization grows too large and too comfortable to interrogate whether any of it serves the product. This is the water Western AAA studios swim in before a single enemy is designed. before a single frame of combat animation is iterated to the point of physical satisfaction, before the compliance spend even begins. Because layered on top of this structural regulatory overhead sits something more specific, more culturally particular, and considerably more expensive in ways that almost nobody with a platform in this industry has the institutional incentive to quantify honestly. Look at what happened to Target. In early 2025, facing political pressure, Target rolled back its DEI programs, and the commercial consequences were immediate, documented, and genuinely instructive for anyone trying to understand why large Western institutions make the creative and financial decisions they make.
Oh, it's a bee.
Foot traffic dropped 9.5% in the first full month of boycotts. The stock price collapsed from $142 to $94, erasing $12.4 billion in market value in weeks. Comparable sales fell 3.8% in the first quarter, with the CEO explicitly citing the DEI backlash in the earnings call as a contributing factor, warning that the decline would extend across the full year. $12.4 billion. Not because Target's products got worse, not because their stores changed, because the company adjusted its ideological compliance infrastructure and the market responded to the political and reputational exposure that adjustment created. Now understand what that lesson teaches every major corporate, legal, and communications team operating in the same cultural environment, which includes every major Western AAA studio headquartered in California or Canada or Western Europe. The lesson is that ideological compliance infrastructure is not merely a cost center. It is institutional insurance, the mechanism by which an organization protects itself from the precise category of reputational and financial risk that Target experienced in real time, in public, with $12 billion of consequences attached. Which means that for every studio retaining sensitivity consultants at six-figure rates per project, the calculation being made is not primarily a creative one, or even a values one. It is a risk management one. The compliance spend is cheaper than the alternative, cheaper than the shareholder lawsuit, cheaper than the boycott campaign, cheaper than the market cap erosion. And because the Metacritic bonus structure simultaneously rewards the kind of safe, reviewer-friendly, ideologically legible output that this compliance environment tends to
Oh
produce,
shit, look at all
the
this.
system creates a closed loop of perfect institutional rationality. Spend on compliance, produce something safe, hit the threshold, collect the bonus.
Oh, this looks kind of
avoid the
cool.
exposure. Publishers have a documented history. The EA and Obsidian cases are public record.
Oh, I need this for
of
a
writing
quest.
specific score thresholds directly into developer compensation agreements, which means the creative decision-making of an entire medium has been formally subordinated to the aesthetic preferences of a relatively small population of professional critics whose own institutional interests are entangled with the financial health of the publishers they cover. Every act of creative risk-taking that might have produced something genuinely surprising becomes a quantifiable threat to individual financial security at every level of the organization simultaneously. The junior developers who absorbed this lesson and adjusted their creative instincts accordingly, the mid-level leads who stopped advocating for proposals they understood would be quietly filed away, the designers who identified structural failure 8 months before launch and lacked the organizational standing to escalate it to anyone positioned to act. Those are the people who receive the termination letters when the product collapses. The executives who commissioned the spend restructure their messaging and begin the next cycle. The critics whose aggregated preferences shaped the bonus structures that governed every meaningful creative decision move on to the next preview event. The distribution of consequence is not incidental to the system.
Ah, all the
It is
fucking
what
stuff
allows the
disappeared.
system to
God
persist.
damn it.
Pearl Abyss operates
And the
outside
ads
this
did
loop
too.
entirely. And so does Game Science, the studio behind Black Myth Wukong, operating out of China on conviction, at a fraction of these budgets, without a sensitivity consultant or a Metacritic threshold clause, or a floor of compliance infrastructure consuming the development budget before a single asset reached the screen, producing one of the most culturally resonant action games in years, breaking Steam concurrent records, and demonstrating that the pattern is not Korean, or Chinese, or Eastern
All
in
in
any
this.
reductive geographic sense,
Oh
but
shit! There we go.
structural. It is what happens when capital reaches the product rather than the institution surrounding the product. When the people making creative decisions have genuine skin in the outcome, rather than a compliance framework protecting them from its consequences. Not because the regulatory environments of Seoul or Shanghai are without complexity, but because the specific configuration of legal, ideological, and institutional overhead that has become structurally load-bearing in Western AAA development does not exist there at the same scale or with the same compounding weight. The capital that in a major Western studio flows into compliance architecture, sensitivity review, legal protection, and the recursive HR infrastructure that sustains all of it, flows at Pearl Abyss and Game Science toward the screen, toward the combat system, toward the world density, toward the 150 hours of content that has players still in the first region 2 weeks post-launch. The counter-argument that surfaces whenever Korean or Chinese development efficiency enters this conversation, that lower costs reflect exploitation rather than efficiency, collapses the moment it engages with purchasing power parity rather than nominal compensation figures. A developer at Pearl Abyss or Game Science drawing a salary that reads as modest against San Francisco market rates.
How the fuck do I get him out of
inhabits
here?
A city where housing, food, and transport operate on a fundamentally different cost basis, where the real purchasing power of that compensation, measured against what it actually constructs in terms of material quality of life, closes the gap considerably, and in many cases, inverts it entirely relative to counterparts navigating the compounding cost of living catastrophe in Los
You know what?
Angeles
I'm almost
or
tempted
the
to
Bay Area,
untie him and see if he
where nominal
runs.
salaries have long
Yeah, I'm gonna
since been
untie him
coupled
and see where
with
he
any
runs.
livable relationship
This is a
with
bad
actual
spot
expenses.
to have him run.
The exploitation framing is not just analytically incorrect. It is a rhetorical maneuver that redirects attention
Keep going,
away
asshole.
from the
You're not
structural
out.
sources of the efficiency gap and toward a moral argument whose primary function is to make the
Oh,
people
God, this
advancing it
motherfucker
feel
tripped.
better about the system they are defending.
Okay, buddy. Oh,
The
God damn it.
thesis was never geographic. The thesis is that hunger beats comfort with the consistency and structural inevitability of a physical law. That a studio operating with genuine conviction, with nothing institutional to protect and everything reputational to prove, will systematically outperform a studio that has been profitable long enough to metabolize its own survival as a form of success. The Western evidence makes this unavoidable. Larian made Baldur's Gate 3 with the creative conviction the established publishers had retired years before its greenlight. Expedition 33 assembled on a budget EA would classify as a rounding error and occupies the Game of the Year conversation on player enthusiasm alone, the kind that cannot be manufactured through Metacritic engineering, because it is specifically the product of making something people wanted rather than something the system rewarded.
I would say E33 is actually closer to being something people didn't know they wanted, that they ended up wanting once they got their hands on it. We don't need to do the revisionist history thing like there's a high demand for turn-based games. Like, these guys genuinely did something generational in like taking that formula that like was very niche and applying it in a way that he actually evolved it and made it more palatable to a wider audience. It's not the same thing as like giving people what they want. It's giving something they didn't realize they wanted.
CDPR built The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077 out of Warsaw, without the infrastructure, without the institutional safety net, with everything to prove. 2 decade-defining open-world RPGs,
This is gonna be a
representing
long
the
run.
last time the Western tradition of the genre operated at genuine creative altitude. When did Blizzard last operate from that position? Overwatch was over a decade ago, mechanically focused and impressive in execution, but modest in scope.
It was
the
also
last
fun.
genuinely great RPG from an established Western publisher? Skyrim, which now runs its own nostalgia cycle for players who weren't alive when it launched. The talent did not go anywhere. The hunger did.
Yeah.
Japan tells its own version of this. Once the industry's most reliable source of formal invention.
I do think the talent absolutely went somewhere. The hiring process has changed everywhere. I'm not moving off of that hill.
Its own preservation-oriented
Not when it's that
risk
clear cut.
tolerance, its own institutional timidity accumulated across decades of commercial success. The genuine challenges in 2026 are concentrating in Seoul and Shanghai and Beijing, in studios that haven't accumulated enough comfort to stop swinging, whose creative decisions are still being made by people with something materially at stake in the outcome, who cannot afford the compliance loop because they never built the institutional machinery that makes the compliance loop feel necessary in the first place. This is the correction the market has been building pressure toward for years, and it is now releasing in ways the establishment cannot redirect or absorb. And for the players watching this, that is unambiguously good news. The players who watched development budgets compound toward figures that no longer have any intuitive relationship to the products they were supposed to fund, who sat through the managed consensus and the engineered critical vocabulary and the Metacritic architecture, and simply wanted someone to build something worth finishing, are the direct beneficiaries of a competitive landscape in which lean and hungry is systematically dismantling fat and comfortable on the only scoreboard that was ever epistemically honest. More ambition, more systemic depth, more worlds dense enough that 150 hours in, you still suspect you've seen a tenth of what's there. Built by studios that remember the only opinion that was ever worth optimizing for belongs to the person holding the controller. The future of this industry doesn't belong to the comfortable. It belongs to the hungry. And the hungry, from Seoul, from Shanghai, from Beijing.
Oh shit,
from
there's two
Warsaw,
criminals over there.
from
Fuck.
wherever conviction hasn't yet been institutionalized into compliance. Are
Don't
already
run.
here.
Don't run. Don't run. I'll be back for both of you.
As always, thanks for watching and for all the likes, subs.
Oh, come
comments,
on, man. What
memberships.
the fuck?
It genuinely means a lot. Everything else is down in the description. Until next time, peace.
Oh no, what the hell? Oh my god. What was that about? Not cool, dicks.
The world is I'm not the one in the wrong.
Why I got banned on Twitch? Let's hear it.
Guys, I got suspended on Twitch in the middle of my Crimson Desert playthrough.
Jeez.
I don't know what I'm gonna be able to do. It's gonna be an entire week. I mean,
Dude, it just looks like
a little break, eh?
dude, it's like he's looking down on me right now, like I'm pathetic or something. Look
these
at
guys.
Look, he's just
I'm gonna have
looking at
so
me.
much free time. Well, I guess I could start by making this video, right? So, I got suspended last night on Twitch. I end my stream, and I come back from the gas station, and I get a message, and somebody says, "Oh, why can't I chat in your stream?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what happened." And I look, and I get a message, and it says that my account has been suspended for 7 days because of hateful conduct.
Well,
So,
okay.
this is what I did. This is what I said. I said that I didn't give a fuck about the opinions of third worlders, and then particularly in the thing that they referenced, I was referring to illiterate goat herders from Afghanistan.
Again, the way this looks out in the public is
Okay.
not a United States.
The opinions of third worlders don't matter. Like, I don't care what some illiterate goat herder thinks in Africa.
Wait, what is wrong with that? Like, what is wrong with that? Like if you're American and there are people on the other side of the world, why would I mean I would say the same thing about like China, right? Like why, like, wouldn't China say, I don't give a fuck about those Yankees, right? Like, okay, fair enough, right? Oh, it's because he said goat? Is that what he said?
I was referring to illiterate goat herders from Afghanistan.
Again, the way this looks out in the public is not a United States.
The opinions of third worlders don't matter. Like, I don't care what some illiterate goat herder thinks
To
in
give you
Afghanistan.
this.
It doesn't matter.
He said
In the
herder.
context of
He said herder. He said herder. They herd goats. Yeah, that's what they do. Like, what? What the hell?
You're already caught.
Like, okay. So, like, the reason this is so dumb is because it makes sense. Like, obviously, like, if we're talking about American policy, why the hell would we care about, well, why would we care about what other countries think? It doesn't really matter, right? But in the context, like, they're literally talking about, you know, that region specifically, so like he would target that region, but you could say the same thing about every country, right? And I would expect them to say the same thing. Like, why the fuck would we care about some Yanks from America? Okay, and right, like, why would you care? It's like, why would you care what we have to think, except for the fact that, like, we're badass. Like, I'm just being around, like, we're badass enough that, like, we could fuck up anybody. Like, let's just be real. They kind of have to care what we think. They're free to say that, right? For being able, thank you for the 100. I've been there, can confirm both the goats and the illiteracy. I mean, yeah. I mean, a lot of them are illiterate. I mean, obviously, right? I mean,
of those people.
I'm confused. Like, do you think that people would be more or less literate when they don't have to be literate for their jobs? I'm not even saying it's a bad thing for them to be illiterate. It's like, it's fine. Like, they don't need it for their function, so it's like, whatever, who cares?
Believing AI-generated videos about Iran winning the war and nuking Israel off the map. Gentlemen, I would like to confirm that I am 100% right, and you don't either. And neither
Wait,
do
what
they.
happened?
Don't care what some
Of those people believing AI-generated videos about Iran winning the war and nuking Israel off the map. Gentlemen, I would like to confirm that I am 100% right, and you don't either. And neither do they. Because if Twitch cares about their opinions, why don't they apply Afghanistan's opinions to women on Twitch? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? But everybody knows nobody gives a fuck about them. Nobody cares. I'm not sorry. I'm right. I said nothing wrong, and nothing I said was against the terms of service.
I totally agree.
Beyond that, do you even imagine a world where somebody that says that they don't care about what a fat American thinks about the Middle East? Can you
They fucking say that all the time. What are we talking about? People from all over the world always say that they don't give a shit what, like, fat Americans say. They say it all the time.
imagine that this person ever gets suspended?
Right, like, go shut up and eat your burger. They fucking say it all the time to us. What are they
course
talking
not.
about?
He has some woke.
And by the way, like, get mad because burgers are fucking the best. Like, I'm just being real. Yeah, whatever. Eat your flatbread, right? Like, I'm eating, like, you know, a fucking half-pound, like, half-pound patty smash burger, and it's delicious.
Qualities, but he's nowhere near as woke as Francis. Francis was a socialist. This motherfucker is an American, and I think Americans are gross. Americans do not have a understanding of the world. Americifying anything is going to be bad. Americans have very limited understanding
say
of the
that.
universe.
And so why am I getting suspended?
It's not even
your
worth it.
third worldist morality logic inversion that basically is being used to silence me for an entire week. That's the important part that I want to talk about here. It's because basically Twitch has a system where they say that your infractions or your bad actions expire within 1 year. Well, the last time I was suspended, well, we all remember the last time I was suspended, but that was in October 2024. I have not been suspended for over an entire year. Why does that matter? Well, it matters because they say it matters. It matters because they say that's whenever the infractions expire and your account is treated as not being in bad standing.
Yep.
So why is it in that case that
Why is it I love it so much when Asmon makes these videos and he just does not give a fuck about the audio quality? It's like actually so peak. He just doesn't care. He's like, fuck it. Like we just roll with like whatever the hell like this camera is. It's so, I love it. I honestly love it. It's so good.
Instead of getting a suspension, instead of getting for a day, instead of getting a suspension for 3 days, I immediately went from that all the way to a 7-day suspension immediately. Why would this happen? What is the reason for it? I have no idea. Is it because they don't like what I'm saying? It has to be, because it's certainly not because what I'm saying is against the terms of service. I looked at the terms of service. Yes, using nationality is a protected group, but I was not talking about them being disregarded because of nationality. I was talking about them being disregarded because of the fact that they're watching literal AI-generated videos and then believing a false narrative. And the video's context was about, would you rather be having likes on Twitter or having your entire Navy not destroyed?
Do you think that the Iranians would rather have their entire Navy back or their memes?
Oh,
Jeez, guys, I wonder. And so anyway, this is what's happened, is that I have been suspended for an entire week for that. That's it. And I'll play the clip for you guys, okay? And this is, by the way, there's not a 100% certainty with this, that this is the clip, but this is the thing that they quoted from, and it's the thing that they gave me an example of. And I will say also, by the way, my contacts and relationship with Twitch on an interpersonal level has been nothing but tremendous. I have great respect for the people that I've dealt with Twitch. I have no actual animosity towards those people, so just make sure that you guys understand that.
Do you want to bet it's like, dude, it's gotta be like some Karen, you know, like some Karen. It's just like had a bad day. She just like, it's gotta be something like that, man. Some absolute power play.
Don't shoot the messenger or anything like that. It's the moderation team and the people that decided that I did something wrong, and maybe they made a mistake. Well, I know they made a mistake, but maybe they'll recognize.
Hassan Power reported him. I mean, he's gonna get more views than him somehow, right? How else is he gonna do it?
That, and I'll get it on ban early. And if they didn't, I guess, well, I mean, and here's the annoying thing, right? Is like, well, if Trump nukes Iran, which seems like that's getting more likely every day, then I'm gonna have to go live on Kick and Rumble, right? Maybe on YouTube too. I prefer just to do Kick and Rumble. It's a copyright thing, right?
That's, by the way, the reason I also don't stream on YouTube. That's the reason, is what he just said.
Confusing, content creator reason. But like, and then we'll continue uploading videos. And if something big happens, don't worry, I'll be there, and you'll have a way to watch me, and it'll be all back to usual. But I would like to take at least a little bit of time, and like maybe fix a little bit of things in my life, and just relax a little bit. But if something big happens, do not worry, I will be there, and I might make a couple of other videos in the meantime, just because I'll be bored. But going back to what I was saying, is that I have been suspended for this. And really, let me talk about, like, really how I feel about this. Do I give a fuck about the opinions of a bunch of third worlders in regards to what my country should do? Absolutely fucking not.
This is why Asmon's so big. This is the reason. This is the reason. He doesn't fuck around. He tells the truth. He says exactly what he feels. And people appreciate that nowadays with like a world with like, full of bitches. Full of bitches. There's just bitches.
In all fairness, there's a lot of people who say exactly what they feel and what they think. The bigger thing is that there's more people that agree with him than more people that don't. That's the thing that separates it. Selling simply, like, everybody always says things like, oh, the people they like, oh, we like them because they're real, they're honest, they say what they think, they don't give a fuck, blah, blah. You could say this about a million people. That's not the important detail. The important detail is that you agree with them or you don't.
Everywhere. So like this is exactly why. This is exactly why everyone watches Asmon.
I do not. You shouldn't. They shouldn't give a fuck about what I think about their country. Because why would I take somebody's opinion that is from a shithole in these countries? And by the way, these are shitholes. Many of these countries are shitholes. And don't let anybody teach you or tell you that, oh, it's America's fault. No, it's not. The ones that America has invaded are shitholes.
What the fuck? Why? Why?
Ulting now. It's over. He doesn't give a shit anymore. He doesn't give any shit.
Okay, good job.
Or Britain hasn't invaded. They're shitholes too.
Isn't this, hold on, wait, isn't this what happened with, like, the first time he got banned? Was about this, too? It was, like, literally this thing I'm saying right now, right? And by the way, when that happened, I said he shouldn't have apologized. I maintained that. I said that the whole time, that he shouldn't have apologized, because it wasn't wrong.
Shitholes because the people made them shitholes. And whenever I talk about third worlders and third worldism, I'm not even really talking about a geography, I'm talking about an ideology. Yeah. And that ideology is the...
Obviously, it's not, it's the ideology and the culture. It's not like in the DNA of the people specifically. Like, it's not every single person from that place is like, it's like that, obviously. You have to be retarded to think that. It's obviously just the overarching ideology that has captured the most amount of people in these places.
Yeah, that disrespect should be met with violence. The idea that, you know, crime,
It basically is in their DNA. Well, I mean, obviously there is a natural like disposition based on like, you know, genetics, because obviously genetics affects like your nature and stuff like that. But the ideological capture is not 100%, obviously. Like, because like even in America, right? Like, is it in our DNA that we have like a bunch of quangos? Like, not really. Like, it's kind of a little bit of both, right? So I mean, obviously there's people that aren't like that there. Like, let's just be real. But there are many people that are.
Discord and chaos in society should be expected. They're part and parcel of living in a modern city, and having people, you know, like, oh, well, you can't say certain things.
60% are well, okay, but like I don't really think that, like, what does that affect? Like, it affects like birth defects and like IQ, but like I don't think that IQ necessarily makes you like a crackhead, to be honest. Like it's kind of like this weird case of like, I mean, I guess like being lower IQ makes you more susceptible to being like sorcered, I guess, to being like, you know, getting spellcasted, and that like might be the thing. And again, this is why I keep saying we need our own spellcasters. Like, you've heard me say it many times.
Because they might offend people, or they'll make them mad. The idea that getting angry about something is a justification to break the law. This is what I'm really talking about with third worldism. Things that
having low IQ means they have low impulse control, which leads to more violence. Well, I mean, that's why you have to spellcast them. You have to spellcast anyone. That's like, it's just how it is. It's like, you know, it's not, guys, like, I don't make the rules, okay? If you want to blame someone, blame God or something. Like, I don't make the rules. It's just how it is.
The Greek Senate, or the Greeks, the Romans, you know, we figured this out in Western society, in Western culture. We've realized that you can't run a society whenever you have people that act this way. And it's actually a good thing to not have a bunch of crazy fent zombies on the street. It's actually a good thing to have people that aren't living on the sidewalk. It's actually a good thing to have a, you know, civilized discussion that doesn't resort to violence whenever you hear something that makes you angry.
Low impulse control is bad. I mean, the other thing too, right, is that we've really fucked with impulse control, like even in America. Like, I really, like, the culture has to have a part in it. Like, surely it does. Wait, because surely it has a large factor in it. But I think we just fucked it up, you know? You know what it is too? Is you have to like be subjected to situations in which you have to exercise impulse control, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that impulse control is actually a thing that can be exercised. Like, it's a thing that you can develop by exercising more impulse control. And then when you choose to not do impulse control, you actually lose the ability of impulse control. So like, then it would be cultural. Then there would be a cultural factor, right? Like, obviously that makes sense. There'd be a cultural factor that you have to teach people to use to exercise impulse control. And oh shit, I just realized something. This goes, oh my god, dude. So that's why it's bad. That's why it's bad to take away people's temptation to sin. That's why it's bad. Because if you do that, like for instance, like the
I didn't even see this.
How they like cover up women so they can't even look at them, so they can't even like begin to imagine them in like a sexual way.
Who the fuck
by doing that lowers their ability of impulse control, because they don't have to exercise impulse control every day. It's like that girl, like, just fuck. You can exercise control without needing to be a sin though. It's like, oh my god, you think about it, it ties into other stuff too. Oh my god, it ties into like everything. Just like low impulse control in like society of like, oh, you know, I don't feel good today. Like I have to go do a thing, but like, fuck it, I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just gonna like eat like a tub of ice cream. Like, this kind of shit. Like I'm just going to give in to the thing because I feel bad. That's interesting. But just a total loss of impulse control. Like, I guess the same thing like applies to like, I don't know.
But for some people, this is the third worldist mindset. It is the aggrandizement of the base interests, the base desires, and the lowest common denominator of mankind. And you know what? I don't like it. I don't want it here. And guess what? They don't
Hold
either.
it.
If
I'll
Twitch
handle
thinks that.
this. Do you know where you are? You can't just stroll in here without a visione. Now, turn back. He's suspicious. Be sure to remember his face.
So they want me to wear it?
Bring a visione if you want to get through. Halt. Hang on now. He doesn't look dangerous. Seems so. Don't cause trouble, you hear? Open it. You may pass.
I set something aside knowing you'd appreciate it.
Interesting. Another signet.
Take all the time. I'd be glad to see you here again.
Okay.
Ah, about time. This way, please. I took the liberty of learning a little about you.
Was he expecting me?
Proved intriguing. They say you can open abyss gates at will. Could such a gift exist for only a select few?
You know what they say about curiosity.
Ah, forgive me. My curiosity runs deep. Of course, whether I choose to help you or not
depends entirely on you. So, will you allow me to study that gift of yours?
Call down your flying fortress and release the prisoners.
And here I was thinking you'd be reasonable. There's no need to be hasty. I'll give you time to think it over. I trust you'll make the right decision.
As if I can't just fast travel out of here. Turn our hand. Oh, they. Oh. All right. Hang on. There's bound to be a clue somewhere in here. Or perhaps not. Would it really be something like fairly obvious? You could just start turning. Oh. Ain't nothing happened. Every time it goes up there, it resets. Every time it goes all the way down, it resets. That one's going further and further. Oh. Interesting. Interesting. It was just holding both down.
Time is running out, I'm afraid.
Is that the real Marnie?
Out of here before his brain boots up. You're right to be wary, but just humor me and do as I say. Have a look around. You should spot a door you've not seen before. There's a transport device in there. It should whisk you off nicely. Well, mostly nicely. Doesn't always stick to the landing. Bit of a wobble on the coordinates, you see. If you do make it out with all the pieces in the right place, head to the manor with the big golden statue. Hard to miss.
There was a wall there before. Oh, I almost got baited by my own dog. Now I'm a little bit afraid that if I walk to a certain wrong spot, it'll kick me out of the memory and then I'm stuck in here. So what do you do here? I could see something trying to materialize here. These things on the floor are insignificant. I just want to make sure I don't fuck this up. Truth and reality. Crossroads. This person's likely stuck in the same spot I am, where you don't know how to get out. After going through the open wall, you must quit out of the vision. Oh, okay. To view the door in front of you, go through it and enter the machine at the end. It will teleport you away. Okay. I was scared to take off the helmet. But it looks like that's what you're supposed to do.
Is this the transporter that he spoke of?
Looks stable.
bit of a wobble.
So where the hell are we? We still local? Oh, come on. God damn it. Is he stuck in a picture like the other person? Is he expecting us to wear the helmet? Probably. Jesus, they're all pictures of him. 2 seconds.